my name is Sam and welcome to my YouTube channel. As some of you may know, I've been fairly sick recently, nothing major, so I thought I would tell you all about my adventure as a sick person and also tell you about one more disease that I have, just as a fun fact and to see if other people have it. And speaking of which, if you hear some coughing, it's not me, it's my next door housemate who sounds sick himself. I must have given him what I had. And before we start, it would be amazing if you could like this video, subscribe to my channel down below, and also leave a comment about the video with the diseases that you may have, but also just a smiley face, because any kind of interaction helps my channel. And now let's get started. So I'm filming on the 30th of July. This video should come out not too long after today, and I'll give you a bit of a timeline. I went to Sitges Pride, which is an area in Barcelona, at the beginning of June. Then on the 7th of July, I went back home to see my mum for a week to the north of Italy, and I came back on the 16th, so 2 weeks ago now. And this is a bit of a timeline which I think is important for the story. So the reason why I told you that I went to Sitges in June is because between June and the 6th of July, when I went back home, I really didn't sleep at all because it was Pride month. I'm a singing drag queen, so I was very busy with a lot of shows, which is great. And I also wanted to make all the videos that I wasn't going to shoot while I was in Italy, and I also wanted to take a week off after coming back from Italy, so I didn't want to film for 2 weeks straight, basically. So I had a lot of videos to make beforehand. So in that month between Sitges and my holiday in Italy, I barely slept. I really ran myself down and I burnt myself out, which is important chain smoker. I don't smoke at all, but the cough was very, very chesty. Then, it went from chesty to dry, then to chesty again. There was no pattern there. Then we stayed at the seaside for a week. Then we went back to my hometown on Monday the 15th, and I came back to London on Tuesday the 16th in the afternoon, and that was the beginning of the end. On Tuesday when I landed, I felt really, really poorly, and I had to go food shopping because I had nothing. I don't know how I managed to drag myself to the supermarket, and I wasn't hungry. I knew that I had to eat, but I wasn't hungry. Not only was I not hungry, but I couldn't even imagine eating. I couldn't even force myself to eat. I bought a lot of fruit because that's in my head the only thing that I was going to be able to eat, but I tried and I couldn't, and I started, I think I had a fever, but I had so little energy that I couldn't even measure it, and I didn't take paracetamol because I don't like taking any kind of medicinal drugs, so I usually just power through it, and I never get sick. I never get even the simplest of headaches, so I don't really know how to navigate being sick, which sounds silly, but it's true. And I started sweating. I had cold sweats. My body was burning, but I was cold. I didn't know what to do with myself, and it was a very intense night. I don't know how I managed to fall asleep, and I kept waking up during the night drenched in sweat, but at the same time I was a bit worried but also happy, because usually it's like sort of a good sign, because I sweated all the disease out. And then on Wednesday I was almost back to normal. I still had my cough, but I felt stronger, I felt better. I still struggled to eat, but I could get something down. So yes, I also, because I'm going on another holiday soon, and I hadn't worked out for a week and a half. I started working out. I wasn't working because I'd already filmed everything that I had to film. I only had to edit one video, but that's a quick thing to do. So I started working out, and I only work out at home, so nothing too demanding on my body. And then I started going for walks again, and I felt good again. I could feel that something was not quite 100% yet, but I thought I just had to recover from the shock of the night before. Then Thursday I had to work. I'm a singing drag queen, and I had a show. Luckily it was only karaoke, because weirdly enough my voice came back and I didn't lose it, so I could still sing, but I had so much cough that just moving made me cough. But luckily with karaoke I was only hosting it, so I only sang a couple of songs, because I would not have been able to do a full show as a singing queen. Then when I got home I was very weak. I felt very, very weak, and that was my first full-on activity since my holiday, and obviously because I wasn't feeling very well, I think my body took a big blow there. And on Friday, yes, I wasn't 100%, and at that point I tried to call my GP. Now the way it works in England is that you call your GP, your doctor, and you talk to the receptionist and you tell them what issue you So that was supposed to be the last day in their old venue. So when the receptionist picked up, she said something about a glitch in the system, something like that, but I didn't really understand what she was saying. So she said that there was a chance that the doctor may not be available or able to call me on the day. And she said that if whatever I had got worse, I should go to A&E. So I said okay. And then they never called me. And then I thought, what kind of glitch is there? It turns out it was a Microsoft glitch. So the receptionist was not lying. So there was a big glitch going on, and I never got my call on Friday. But there was nothing that I could do about it. Then on Saturday, I wasn't feeling the best, but I also had another show in the evening. Luckily, it was again just karaoke, so I managed to plough through it, and I didn't feel weak or unwell during the show. It was just the cough that weird I could control during the songs, but you can't really control a cough, so it was very unpredictable. On Sunday, I wasn't feeling my best again, but I was meant to meet a friend in Central at like 3 p.m, so nothing crazy, and I went, and oh my god, I just coughed all the way through it, to the point where every time I coughed, I got, like, my head was pounding, and my kidneys were hurting, so I could really feel that my body was tired of coughing. So I stayed there for a couple of hours, also because I used to be an English teacher, and one of my ex-clients was in London. She was supposed to land in the early afternoon, and then she was supposed to come to Central at 5ish, and I wanted to meet her because we'd never met before, because I only used to teach online. But her flight was delayed, and I tried to stick it out for as long as I could, but then I don't even know what time she even got to Central. But at 5ish, 6ish, I had to go because I had nothing left in me, and I was feeling very poorly. I felt very poorly for the rest of the night. Then on Monday, I decided to call my GP again because I was getting worried. It had already been 2 weeks if you count my holiday at the seaside and also the week here. And I'm going on a gay cruise soon, and I want to be well for that, and also I need to sing and I need to be able to perform because I am a singing drag queen. They called me, the glitch was over, and they called me, and they didn't examine me in person. They didn't get me to go to the practice, but they gave me antibiotics. Now the antibiotics worked a treat, I have to say, so whatever it is that I had was an infection. I didn't feel better straight away. On Tuesday and Wednesday I was a bit weak, and on Wednesday I decided not to leave my sofa. So I stopped working out, I stopped going for my walks, so I just lay in bed and on my sofa. On Thursday morning I felt great, so I really did need a bit of just rest, and I had a show again on Thursday and it was okay. Again, my cough was still there, not terrible, but I was terrified that I might feel very weak the day after, but I didn't. So on Friday I again forced myself not to do a single thing, and I'm glad I managed to stick to that because it really did help. On Saturday morning I had to perform at a brunch, and I was petrified because that was a full show where I had to sing for a full hour. I could feel and I could hear that my voice was not 100% there, but I could still do it. So I'm glad that I managed to do it with a bit of coughing in between, obviously, but not as much as I feared. And then in the evening I was supposed to perform, but luckily my show time I've had a bit of a disservice from the health system here. I'm not one of those people who complain about the health care here because I've always been treated well. But yesterday was Monday and they said that the first available phone appointment is this coming Saturday. So first of all, I was shocked that my GP works on a Saturday, and also it's a full week, so by then I will either have died or fully recovered. I took it, so I can feel that my cough is getting better. It's still here. I can still feel something is in my chest. The other option is to go to A&E, but because I clearly would have no priority, I would be there for 15 hours, and because I'm going on my cruise next week, right now I don't have the time because I need to work, but I'll see how I feel and the next couple of days and take it from there. And it was insane because it's only because I'm not really used to being sick, but I literally lost every sense of purpose in life. My purpose was literally to live, to fight another day. So even the idea of meeting people or going somewhere, it felt completely alien to me. And now that I'm back to normal, again, the idea of working, meeting people, feels like it belongs to someone else. It doesn't feel like it's my life. And it was only 3 weeks of not feeling well, but it really got to me. So yes, I'm happy that I feel normal again. Again, something is not quite right with my chest, so I'll have to have that checked, but I can be a functional human being. And I thought I would take this opportunity to talk about a disease that not many people, well, literally no one knows about. So I have a rare disease. I'm not a doctor, by the way, so this is just a fun fact based on the very few details that I know. I have a very rare disease which is called IgA deficiency. Apparently IgA is one type of antibodies that your body naturally produces, and my body doesn't produce enough. I am completely asymptomatic, even though maybe the fact that I get sick like this might be a first symptom. So technically, from what I gather, I should get ill quite often, but I never do. I really never do, apart from this incident. And last year, right before my cruise, I got sick again. So I don't know if now every year I'll have something I need to take care of. And I grew up in Italy, and when I was in Italy, I was constantly checked by doctors just because my levels are low, but not worryingly so. But obviously they need to check that my levels don't go lower than they are. So I was constantly checked by doctors through blood tests. I think I used to do 2 a year when I was a child. Luckily everything was for free because it's a rare disease. And I didn't really, apart from the fact that you might get sick more often, I didn't really know the implications of this disease. But a couple of years ago I found out that my disease is not just about potentially getting sick, but it has to do with blood transfusions, and I need to walk around with an emergency card. So if I pass out on the street, then doctors can see that I have this disease, because apparently if I need a blood transfusion, I can't just get the blood because my body will reject it. So the doctors need to know that I have this disease so they can put something in the blood, and then my body will accept it. It will not reject it. So yes, that's all I know. Don't ask me more, because that's the extent of my knowledge. But yes, I thought I would bring it up. But something surprising happened during COVID. So vaccines and all of that because they've helped me, and I can see that. So obviously when COVID broke out, I got my vaccine, and the weird thing was that because of my disease I had extreme priority. So I was one of the very first people that got that vaccine. We started rolling them out here in January 2021. Anyway, as soon as it was ready, I got the call, because we had to be called by the GP to go and get a vaccine, and I was in the queue with the over 80s. It was just me and all the over 80s who also had priority because of their age. And it was funny when I got into the hospital, because the nurse looked at me and said, "You must have a rare disease," because obviously I didn't really fit in with the crowd. So again, I was treated like a king in terms of priority and in terms of care. And what really surprised me was this. I had a friend who unfortunately died, not because of COVID or not because of this other disease. So this friend of mine had HIV, and he was 60, but he never got a priority. So I got my first vaccine before him, and I thought, well, at first I was shocked, but then, again, this is just the opinion of an ignorant drag queen, I thought that's a great, testament to how good the HIV drugs are, because obviously I would assume that someone with HIV would have priority because their immune system is compromised or risks being compromised. But in my head, the drugs that HIV positive people take are so good, they're so effective that they basically bring you back to a normal immune system, so you don't need priority for things like COVID. So again, at first I was a bit shocked and I really did not understand why he did not have priority, but then I thought it's actually a good thing, because it means that the drugs do work. So yes, that's a little fun fact about that. Luckily, other than that, I don't have any other diseases. I'm the lucky one in the family. My mum has, or you name it, she has it. My brother has my same disease, and he does get ill more often. Nothing major, but especially as a child, he suffered more. My brother is also a celiac, so he can't eat gluten, which is a big curse. Now, I know that nowadays everyone follows all sorts of diets for whatever reason. You can be vegetarian, vegan, a lot of people who don't need to be gluten-free decide to be gluten-free. But it's one thing when you decide to, and you freely choose to limit what you can eat. It's another when you don't get that choice, you are forced to adapt. And because he is a celiac, I am at high risk of being a celiac as well. You can become a celiac at any point in your life, and I'm terrified that might happen to me because I don't have any vices. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I used to bite my nails. I don't do that anymore. But, well, my vice would be food, because I want to look a certain way because I'm too vain. I also limit that. But the idea of not being able to eat certain things, not because I don't want to, but because I physically can't, it would be really, really devastating for me. So I want to show all my compassion to anyone who has a dietary requirement that they must follow, and it's not their choice, because it must be intense. It must be, and obviously you get used to it, I suppose, but especially when you first transition from eating whatever you want to having to follow a for example. So I always keep my fingers crossed because I would not want to be a celiac at all. So yes, I'm lucky that I'm not. So in the family, I'm the one that has it